at Caesarea Philippi, and we are 2 miles north of Dan. We're 25 miles north of the Sea of Galilee, and maybe 110 miles from Jerusalem. Jesus and his disciples go to Caesarea Philippi, which is amazing. There was a temple to Pan, Zeus, and Caesar, and a spot for sacred goats at Caesarea Philippi. Pan was half man, half goat, and he would die every year and have a resurrection. He would go down to Hades and have relations with the mistress, and then he would bring about fertility, and due to Pan being the fertility god. And it looks like he's doing pretty well, doesn't he, by how fertile the land is at Caesarea Philippi and how green and luscious things are. They would entice him to come back, and sexuality was the key to making fertility happen, and that's what makes it happen at Caesarea Philippi. So if he has sexual relations, he will then bring about rain and fertility. And what happened at Caesarea Philippi was grotesque, immorality of every form, and this was Herod's capital. For 10 days, the Pan Festival would happen, and all was fertility-focused, wine, goats, and more. And this was the world center of Pan worship. It would happen every year. 500,000 people would come to Caesarea Philippi. No rules, you could do whatever you want and forget about it later afterwards. This is where we get the words pandemonium and panic from. Pan is where you throw all the rules off. In Matthew 16:33, Jesus says, or it says, when Jesus came to Caesarea Philippi. Did he see that? Did he see everything that was happening there? It was where he asked them, the disciples, the question, who do people say that I am? That's a critical question that we all need to answer. Who do you say Jesus is? It's also in Caesarea Philippi in Matthew 16 where Jesus says to Peter, you are rocky, and on this place I will build my church. Could it be Peter? Or maybe more likely the testimony of God's people? Both can be true at the same time. But a question I have is this. How many Pharisees and Sadducees do you think came up to Caesarea Philippi and were witnessing to people? None. In Mark 8, we read, if anyone would come after me, Jesus says, he must deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. For whoever wants to save his life will lose his life. What good is it to gain the whole world and yet forfeit his soul? Jesus comes all the way up to Caesarea Philippi to say, deny yourself. I wonder if he yelled it to all those who were celebrating at the Pan Festival. Well, is there something that God is asking you to deny today? Maybe tell somebody that truth so that they can hold you accountable. Well, then Jesus turns to his disciples who are thinking, Jesus, all those people who are below are looking at us. Don't embarrass us. Now hear Jesus in Mark 8. If anyone is ashamed of me and my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, the Son of Man will be ashamed of him when he comes in his Father's glory with the holy angels. Jesus is saying to each of us today, don't you dare be ashamed of me. Are you ashamed of Jesus? Paul said it this way in Romans 1 verse 16, I'm not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of salvation. I love visiting Caesarea Philippi like we did today, because every time I go there it makes me smile, because all those who followed Pan, all those who lived in Caesarea Philippi are gone. And yet you and I stand upon the rock of Jesus' testimony even today. We're still here, we're still God's people, and we are still witnessing for Jesus today.